Hi, my name is Jen. Welcome to my channel, All My Plants. Today's video is plant chores. Massive amounts of plant chores. My greenhouse is a wreck, so I'm trying to do something to make that a little more palatable. I can barely walk in there. I just keep stuffing things in. So I need to do some organization there. I have moss poles to make. Whether or not I'll actually get those made today, I'm not sure because I put it off. It's just a lot of wire cutting. It's just odds and ends. Watering. I might do some propagating. I don't know. We'll see what I have time to get done in a reasonable amount of time to make a video without literally having you watch all day. So we're gonna get to it.
Okay, so I sped this up because, it's basically me running back and forth and shuffling things around. It's so bad in there. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but there's stuff on the floor everywhere. I don't love sitting plants directly on the floor without, a stand or something under them. Some of the ones on poles I do, obviously, because if I set them up on anything, they topple over or, whatever. But so I'm just shuffling things around. I'm kind of checking things over too while I'm in here, making sure that we don't have any pests or other unpleasantries. But yeah, like some of these plants are doing really, really well. I know I just showed them, and some of them not so much, like that guy. I don't know what's going on with him. It's I think it's called Bishop's Cap. But yeah, it's a cool plant though. Yeah, I figured if I moved this thing up against the side of the greenhouse, that would give me a little bit more room, and I guess it did. I mean, there's still a lot going on in there. I cut so much out of me just standing there, just staring at things, because I really don't know what to do with it. There's a lot going on in there. A lot. I need to do this more often than I do, just literally go through and move every single plant. I didn't move much along the right side there, as far as the things that were on shelves and stuff. I kind of checked some of them over, but I didn't really move anything from there. Okay, maybe a few things. But for the most part, they all kind of went back there, if they came from there. My focus mainly was that back side and the left side, which some of it's off there. That and some of the plants on the ceiling, I moved some of those around that are hanging. Some of them just needed to be turned, some of them needed a different location. Just so much shuffling. Look at all the weeds that are growing in there. I'm stomping them flat. I don't know what the actual name of that plant is. We call it Creeping Charlie because it's a creeper. And it's not that it's growing in there, it's growing from the outside into there. It grows underneath the walls. But it's not something that was introduced, it just crept in. It's easy to pull up because it's very shallowly rooted, but it just keeps coming. Just keeps coming. You see them slugs? That was gross. That's the philodendron El Chaco or Rubijuvenile, whatever they're calling it. Trying to figure out where to put it, where it gets a little bit more light than it was down underneath that shelf. That was a philodendron Patriciae. Checking out my little cactus. Most of these plants are really doing okay. A lot of them don't need my help with anything. Not this time of year, which is great. Which is great. I like that they don't need me. I love that Hoya. It's not the fanciest Hoya, but it's a good little Hoya. That's Australis. That one never does good for me. The green one does better than the Lisa, but pulling a bunch of dead stuff off that Ripsalis. It actually looks so much better. It's like everything underneath just suddenly decided to die, but it had a whole bunch of new growth coming over top of the old growth. It's really weird. But it looks a lot better now that I pulled it out. That was a jungle cactus that fruited. It has little fruits growing. I can kind of walk in there, but while I was doing all this, I kind of forgot that I had one huge plant that goes back in here. I'm looking around wondering, did I actually save any space? And I thought, oh, okay, this is working. I really didn't save any space. But I can walk and I can get to most of the plants now, so that's good. I'm happy about that. I really like that plant. Glad that one didn't have slugs. Showing your reverted monstera albo. Pretty though, still. Lots of shuffling. I'm checking peduncles because I have a bunch of Hoyas that have peduncles on them, but they haven't bloomed yet. Still today, they haven't bloomed yet. That was rotted. There we go. And that's how I didn't save any space. Okay, so my husband loves me, and for some reason he pulled some of my weeds. You can kind of see here. I still have to get in here and pull a lot more. Like you can see, they're all over the place, under there, back behind there. But overall, I'm happy with it. Sorry if you can hear the fan. I can actually walk in here, and I can kind of mostly get to everything. I need a bigger greenhouse. Sounds insane. I need a bigger greenhouse, though. I really do. I mean, there are some spaces to put things, but overall, we're pretty much at maximum capacity in here. So, oh, I just put that Florida Ghost out here. It's been wanting to come out for a while now. It's mostly green, but yeah, so pretty. So anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Look, new leaf. I'm waiting for these to open. I think they're going to open tonight. That's the jungle cactus. So pretty. Or cactus orchid. Yeah. I think some of them will open tonight anyway. We'll see. Okay, so I'm back in from the greenhouse. I've kind of got a mess here. I don't know. I guess we can kind of see it's a mess. But these are plants that I brought in. Well, not all of them. Some of them from the greenhouse because they need help. I've got... Nope, you can't see that at all. I've got my soil here and some pots. Most of them just need to be potted, separated, or repotted, or, you know, something along those lines. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to move you so I can get a slightly better view, maybe, of what's going on here. We'll attempt it, because, yeah, you can't see anything down here. Okay, you're like 87 miles away, so I can't tell what you can see, but hopefully you can see something. Let me move this slowly somewhere. Oof, okay. And the ketchup. Which way that's on the counter, I don't know. Oh, because it's a brand new bottle. Okay, so I guess I'll start with the slug plant. Do I have something to put soil in? We'll put old soil here. So yeah, this is a nope, what is it? Villanovarum? Who are you? Yeah, Anthurium villanovarum. It hasn't been doing good. I showed it in the greenhouse the last time we did updates and checks. I just pulled off some dirt and hosed it because it was covered in slugs. Inside the pot, even the bottom of the pot. I don't know, that can't be good for it, right? So I wasn't impressed. We pulled off the slugs and we hosed it pretty thoroughly. And do we put it back in the same pot? Seems like a lot of pot. No, I think it's fine. I'm just gonna loosen the roots some. Like I said, I did hose it off kind of gently on the blast setting. Oh, we have root rot. Okay, maybe we'll put it, is that one? Nope, that one's sturdy. We don't have a lot of root rot apparently. Just some here and there. That's weird. But anyway, I was thinking I might put it back in the same pot, but now I'm thinking maybe I should find something a smidge smaller. I don't know if I have anything. It's either too small or too big.
That's not ideal. But yeah, so I'm loosening some of these roots up because they're still in a ball, apparently from the last time I repotted it. I didn't bother to really loosen them much. I just kind of stuck it in a bigger pot and left them be. Which I don't think they're going to get upset about being sorted out a little bit. I mean, if it does get upset, have I really heard anything here? Look at that. That whole thing's rotted. Ugh. Yeah, I think it was in too big of a pot, for one thing, and I don't know how the slugs got in there. I haven't really had a problem with slugs. I mean, on the foliage maybe, but not even in the greenhouse. That's been on like the plants in my yard, like my hostas or something like that. So it's weird to see them in the greenhouse having a feast on roots, no less. You rotted? You're rotted. Just the end though. Okay. So this isn't ideal. Gosh. I knew something was wrong with this plant. I even said, I don't know what's wrong with that. I got to sort that out eventually. No idea what's going on. It has plenty of roots, and even good roots. Like I said, some of these do have some rot, but overall, like, no reason for the foliage to just completely tank like that. Maybe the slugs, that's all I can figure. Is the slugs were chewing on the roots faster than they could grow? I don't know. Don't know. I don't love slugs. It's one of my personal, one of those things that just gives you heebie-jeebies when other things might not bother you so much. It's one of those are one of those things that gives me heebie-jeebies. I don't know. It's one of those things, you see them on the front steps of everybody's house around here in this time of year. And I don't know, I just don't love them. I'm sure they serve some purpose that I'm not aware of. I don't know what it is, but I don't love them. I mean, I don't pour salt on them either, but I don't love them at all. At all. Yeah, even the roots along the top, a lot of those are rotted. Yeah, this plant was not happy. Slugs or no, I don't think it was doing good. I don't know if I could blame it all on the slugs, because a lot of these roots are just toast. And there's a lot of good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones. It's like in a sponge here, like whatever it was planted in before. I see why I didn't loosen these roots, because it's like really tightly packed. Very dense root system in there. But we're gonna get it. We're gonna do it right this time. I shouldn't have left them just in a clump or a ball, I guess, when I repotted it. I do it with a lot of other plants and they're fine. I think I did it with my bird of paradise. I just didn't want to be disruptive. I was like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. This is one of the times when it apparently wasn't. There's a lot of like sphagnum moss in here. Maybe it was rooted in spag. I don't know. It's really mucky. Peat and spag mixed, maybe? I don't know what that is. And some perlite. See, plenty of perlite. Who doesn't love perlite? No, I'm sure a lot of people don't, but I do use it quite a bit myself. Not so much the spag anymore, because I do have a hard time removing it from things. I'm not gonna say I never use it, because I do. I still have a prop box that's got spag moss in it. And it does serve its purpose. I use it in poles mostly. Oh, there's some stem down there. I'm like trying to figure out if this is a piece of bark or something. It's not, it's a piece of stem. Like the base of this chunk. This just takes so much patience. I watch videos of other people doing this and I'm like, I don't know. They just look so much more calm than I feel while doing this. This wrecks my nerves to like dig around in roots. It really does. I feel like a murderer. Wow, there's so much moss in this. Like big pieces of it still. I guess that would be why I didn't have an easy time messing with the first go around and went, nope, I'll just leave it. It's because it's all like tangled together with sphagnum moss. I think we got most of it out of there though. All right, now I'm gonna see what of these roots here are rotted and what are still viable. That's a sponge. I am just pulling them. Whatever's like got that rotted sheath, I'm just pulling it off. I'm not getting in here and cutting anything. A lot of it is not great. So I don't know, this plant will recover or it won't. Either way, I'm okay with it. At this point, I really am. Because I mean, it can't get any worse other than completely dying, right? And that might be a mercy to this plant at this point. That might be a mercy. So I can see a growth point here. That doesn't actually look too bad. Doesn't look too good either. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of sad because this is a really interesting looking anthurium. Somebody said it looks like a philodendron, and it kind of did, but the petioles are triangular. The petioles of this plant. So, do I want to pot that? I think I am going to pot it back in the same plant or same pot, because it does have a fair amount of roots still, despite all that I've ripped off. And I'm not going to water this right away because these roots are wet. I guess you can tell it's kind of muddy. But I'm going to let it dry down a little bit. I'll water it maybe tomorrow. But I will put it right back in the greenhouse to appreciate the humidity out there and the bright light. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I could be completely making horrible mistakes here. We'll find out together. I'm just going to seed it kind of deep in the pot. Yeah, there's plenty of roots there still. I don't know. They might all go ahead and rot too. Why don't I have a slightly bigger thing to scoop with? There we go. There we go. This poor plant. It was so pretty. It really was. And it was doing okay pretty much until, I don't know, it was even before I put it outside, so I can't blame it on that totally. I don't know, sometime in between when I repotted it last and when I put it outside. Because it was so root bound, I was like, oh yeah, it needs a bigger pot, but they grew into the new pot some. But I really should have loosened up that root ball. I really shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know? Hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. Go ahead, you're fine.
Oh, I was gonna show you that I finally finished this drawing, and I scanned it, and it looks so cool scanned.
Holy.
I'm happy with it. Thank you.
You should put it in a frame.
I should put it in
hang it.
I should put it on a cup.
Yeah, you should actually, and you can, or a shirt, or both.
A cup.
A cup and a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this plant has had better days, and like we're hoping that we've made it happy. And this is the same mix that I use for everything. Just it's bark, perlite, mosquito bits. There might be some leca running around in there. Actual soil, I don't use like cocoa coir or any of that stuff. I use a little bit of actual soil. Some charcoal. I prefer the chunky perlite, but they haven't had that. So it's like smaller pieces. But it's fine. It is what it is. So yeah, it's the same stuff I always use. No systemic because this is going outside. I think all of these are going outside. They're going back outside. This is where most of them came from. So we're gonna set these guys aside and we'll water them later after. I'll put them right here. All right, but that's that one. That was that one's issue. My I think it's the dragon scale alocasia. Yeah, the dragon scale alocasia. It was like rotted. It had died back to one little leaf, and a lot of the roots were rotted on that. So I dug that out of the pot. I actually did that off camera already. But I got some corms out of there. I repotted the actual plant. I don't know where I put it, but I got 3 corms out of there. So I am going to just go ahead and pot them all together in, I guess, this pot. And we'll see if they survive, right? I'm just tucking them down in there with the growing point up, or upwards-ish, maybe sideways. They're more sideways than upward, but whatever. As long as the point is up, the corm itself might be a little bit sideways. But yeah, and just so I'm just covering the tallest growing point that I saw. That's what I'm doing with those guys. I'll forget what they are until they come up. I'm not even labeling. I like to live on the edge. I like the excitement of the unknown. This is the second time I've rooted this. This is Syndapsis, some sort of splash something. I don't know. Can you see it from here? It's a lovely one. If I can find the name, I'll put it on the screen. But anyway, I've rooted this like 3 different times, and it just keeps rotting because I keep forgetting to pot it or forgetting to keep water in there. It was in a jar, or no, it was in a coffee cup. But yeah, it's rooted and rotted, and we're losing leaves at this point. So this is the last ditch effort. I'm gonna try to not neglect it, and this is going out in the greenhouse as well. So it had a little teeny root, but I think it's gonna be fine out there as long as I don't drown it. I might. Why is there plastic in there? I might drown it. I'm gonna try not to. I'm gonna try to not. I still have the mother plant of this. It's growing on the, I think I showed it, yeah, the DIY trellis video. That was the mother plant, the Syndapsis that was in there is the mother plant to this. So the new leaf is really small, but I have hopes that it'll do fine. It's fine, everything's fine. It'll be okay. That one there. And who else? This thing. This is it labeled? It was like philodendron pink Birkin or something, it's some sort of Congo hybrid, I believe. And it has some variegation on it. I don't mean Birkin, typical Birkin variegation, which I guess it does have some of that too on this oldest leaf, which you can't possibly see, but it's there. Mostly it's like splotchy, weird pinky white spots. I don't love the Congo, and I don't love the Birkin, but I have it. I bought it. I was curious, and I bought it, and it's drying out quite quick. I just watered this when it's dripping. It's drying out quite quick, and it is full of roots in there. I think it's been in here about a year now, so it's just time to go up a pot size or 2. I guess we're gonna put it in this. Yeah, we're gonna put it in that. This is one of those plants that for me has a problem with like copper fungus or something all the time on the leaves, like the spots. And I don't love that. I don't. I don't know if repotting it's gonna help that, but I'm going to repot it. Wow, this is really barky. Apparently that's why it dries so quick. But anyway, the roots are all good on here. I'm very surprised because this is another plant that has gone nothing short of a month here and there without water, maybe longer. It was upstairs in the little greenhouse, and I just rescued it not too long ago. I was like, oh, hey, maybe I shouldn't kill you violently or slowly and violently. Is it possible for a violent, slow death for a plant? Because that's what we were working on with this guy. But anyway, it has been very tolerant despite all of its issues. Like, look how droopy it is. The leaves are not supposed to point down. They would normally be very upright and kind of rosette. But this plant has paid its dues, even though, like I said, they're not my favorite particular sort of plant. It has paid its dues. It has earned its spot in my collection, I suppose. So we're gonna take care of it. We're gonna fix it, make it happier. I just watered this one, so I won't be watering this one. Not even to water it in. I'll water it in 2 or 3 days. And I have every belief it'll be fine, because as I said, it has gone at least maybe 6 weeks even without water over the winter, or even this spring. I know it went a month this spring, easily, without water. So it's tough. It is tough. I'm not saying it's ideal, or that that's how you want to treat your philodendron, Congo rojo, or Birkin, or really any of your plants. I mean, maybe your cactus. Your cactus might be into that. I water my cactus more than I water this thing, really, just because my cactus are down here and I see them. And they are growing like crazy right now. I wish I could tell you what kind of cactus. I don't know. I'm really not a cactus and succulent person. I mean, I like them, but I don't know much about much when it comes to cactus and succulents. So, right, this guy is just going straight outside, and he won't actually come in contact with anybody because that copper fungus, I hear it can spread. I've never really had any problem with it on anything but Congo, moonlight, all philodendrons, and usually of the upright rosette type. But yeah. All my things I knocked on the floor. All right, who's next? I guess while we're on philodendron, well, I only have one more after this. Okay, this is the philodendron Summer Glory. I'm really liking that new leaf. I'm really liking it. So, I think, did I see copper fungus on this guy too? No, I think that might actually just be burning. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I like this plant. I got this plant, was it last fall? Does anybody remember? I don't remember. I haven't had it very long though, but I haven't done anything with it. Yay, no slugs. I haven't done anything with it, and I said at the time that I got it, I was like, yeah, maybe I should sort this out, because it's, I don't know, 3 or 4 in here. And it does appear to be a crawling philodendron. And the largest of them was kind of hanging over the edge of the pot a little bit, so the roots are so pretty. They're like, they blush. They blush. They're pink. I don't know if you can see any, but they do. So I can feel why this one is dry. I just watered it yesterday and it's pretty dry today. Maybe very slightly damp. It's very barky, bark heavy mix. Bark heavy. Which nothing's wrong with that, it's just not. In the greenhouse it dries really fast. It does maintain humidity very well, bark does, but it dries very fast. It's been over 100 degrees in there for the last several days, so. I wonder if these are all tangled together as bad as I think they're going to be. Like, I don't want to... Are they all coming from the same chunk? Can't see yet. Can't see to tell yet. I'm going to assume they all came from the same chunk. I feel the rotten end of a chunk down here. Either that or it's a plug. Like the death plugs. Oh, yeah, it's a plug. Like a peaty, quirky plug. Alright. So I'm assuming they've all come from one growth, one piece that was in that same plug. Is that right to assume? Let's see. Can you come apart for me? Oh, do you hear it? Oh, that sounds awful. Yeah, I think they were connected. Yep, Okay, anyway, we're gonna pot them separate. This one. Maybe a little bit bigger. It says Crassipediolata. I better take that off or I'll be really confused at some point. Not really. I think it's pretty easy to tell the difference between Hoya and Philodendron, huh? Yeah, alright. You're crawling that way. I'm trying to put it like as far to one side of the pot as possible to give it as much room as possible to crawl. Because I don't want to repot it again for a while, if I can help it. I like repotting, but not when I have everything to repot and it seems like it's all at the same time. Everything's coming up. And like, it's now my turn, which is summer. That's what it feels like. Okay. So I left most of the stem or stolon, whatever you'd call that, for crawling plants above the ground, like up on top of the soil. I don't know if you can tell, but okay, my battery died and I can't remember what I was doing. Pretty sure I just stepped on a plant. Got dirt caked under my fingernails. You ever feel like it's your first day on the planet? Okay. I was doing this Summer Glory. I guess I'm gonna do this bigger, this bigger one. Oh, I just broke off a leaf. In this pot, all the way to one end. So it has room to crawl. Not much. Somewhere I have a trough planter, but I think I killed a gloriosum with that particular planter. Wow, it's not gonna have far to go at all. It's like a cement planter, and I think it might be treated, you know what I mean, so water doesn't really wick to the edges of that planter. Am I in the frame yet? I can't see that far. But anyway, I killed a gloriosum in that, and I'm not sure I want to use it for anything ever again. I think the first thing I had planted in it was my Bobanii, which has been an ongoing struggle. It has one leaf currently, the tiniest little thing. It's growing back slowly but surely. I'm getting ready to cut that to propagate the rest of the chunk, because it's a long chunk, but very little actual vegetation. So I don't know. But anyway, that's a death pot. I have another death pot here. It's like a blue ocean plastic planter. Supposedly they're made with recycled ocean plastic, which I love the concept. But everything I plant in them, I have several of them, and you've probably seen other of my plants in them. Everything I plant in them dies. And it's probably just me. I'm sure it's me. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the pot. But the drainage holes are small, but I'm getting ready to plant something in one anyway. Certain pots, they're death pots, my humble opinion. So, I don't know. Alright. We're gonna call this guy good to go. It's got like 1.5 inches to go, but it's so pretty. I really think it's a pretty plant. Summer Glory. I know it's not the best light in here. This is, you know, just my kitchen, my low ceiling kitchen. It's weird that the light's so bad in here because there's 6 in the ceiling and then there's 2 more here. There's just no light. It's an old house, what can I say? This one here looks like it was on the struggle bus. It's got some roots though. We'll put it in this guy? Yeah, we'll put it in this guy. We'll put it in there. Same thing to kind of the back edge of the pot. Use this scoopy scoop. I don't know if they'll do better or worse now that they're separated. Hopefully they do okay. I think they'll do fine in the greenhouse. It's when I bring them in, will they continue to do fine? Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. I think they'll be okay. most everything does all right in the greenhouse. Not everything always, but most things. They really like the heat and the humidity and the extra light. It's ideal light almost. I think I have a 70% shade cloth on there. So, you know, I need a bigger greenhouse. And my husband agrees. He's been saying the same thing. Like, we'd like to have one that we could just kind of rock with year round, you know, rather than something we have to stop using in the winter. Him, I think just because he would like to have one room in the house that's not full of plants over winter. That probably won't happen even if I do get a bigger greenhouse. All right, so, oh, hold on. I've got some little cuttings of Maranta leuconera here. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And they're doing okay. They have little roots and I see new growth coming off of them. What is it? 2 cuttings? And they're from the basket I have, which I don't think I've shown that in probably a couple months. I think it was in a favorites video. And the whole basket came from little cuttings. So anytime the growth gets small or gross, I just cut it. Pull off anything that's dead and root what remains. So this here, I'm just gonna root it in this small little planter for a little while, and then it will go back in with the mother plant. I just want to give it time to kind of get used to soil, and maybe I'll pay more attention to it where it's separate and small than I do the bigger basket, because I kind of ignore it for the most part. It doesn't really need my help often. So, I mean, it's a thirstier plant than some of my others, but isn't that cute? It's tiny, but it's cute. It's a little crispy here and there. I'll get you closer when I water them so you can actually see the plants better. This is just so you can get an overall view of the havoc that I'm wreaking in my kitchen. And then this guy, who are you? Anthurium radicans luxurians cross, I guess. Almost dry. I don't know if it's ever dried since it's been outside. It's got growth points everywhere still, and quite a few are doing it. But yeah, it's just extra rooty. So we're bumping it up to this guy, which seems like quite an increase. I think I'm going to put some bark in the bottom of here because this is tiny drainage holes. 4 tiny drainage holes, plus it has a tray which actually traps some water. And I know that the bark is going to be wet. However, it won't hold as much water as a bunch of soil would at the bottom because it's really too deep for what I need. So, oh, hot second. Let me go get my bark. So currently I'm using the Miracle Grow orchid bark. I don't prefer this one. I actually prefer Better Grow bark, which it has chunky perlite bark and charcoal in it. This is just fir bark or something. Does it say what kind of bark? This bark breaks down really fast. The next time I repot this plant, it won't be bark anymore. I'll put it that way. I don't see where it says. It probably does somewhere. I just don't have the patience to read it or the eyesight. But anyway, we're gonna put a bunch of this in the bottom of the pot. I'm gonna say a couple inches deep anyway. Yeah, whew, smelly bark. So it's maybe right there on the pot. So it's really not planting that plant much deeper than it already is, except for the bark. Like I said, it will retain some moisture, but it will drain better than a soil mix would down there. So let's see if I can untangle this some, because we've learned the hard way that you really should do that with Anthurium apparently. Or mine anyway. Seem to be trying to teach me a lesson when I don't do that, so I'm just gonna loosen them for my sanity. Oops, and apparently break some. I think it's gonna be fine. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I am not the best with Anthurium anyway. I mean, I love them, but I don't think, oh, I don't think ripping the roots off is the best way to show that. No, I just don't do well with them for some reason. I think my best grower is Vitarifolium, or it's not even my best grower, it's just the one that gives me the least worry. My Forgetty Eye, I've had that for a few years. That does really well. Here lately I've dropped it. It had spider mites. It's been through something here lately, but not because it decided to throw a fit or anything, just because I've been careless, basically. So, but that one usually does really well. My Crystallinum, I think it's dead. It was a stump. I've been trying to get it to do something, but it's not. It's just a stump it remains. My Queen Anthurium, a stump it remains. I don't even know where it's at. I think it's in the cabinet. Maybe. But yeah, it's just not happy with my nonsense. Okay, if these roots fluff out too much more, I am going to get rid of that bark. Except for the tiniest layer, because there's a lot going on there. Okay. I like it when they're rooty. I do. And this one is. This really is in a kind of a dense mix, but it's been happy in there. It's not very barky, or that, or whatever, whoever planted it or potted it up in the first place, the bark broke down. Maybe it was that type, I don't know. But I don't really feel a whole lot of bark. Plenty of perlite. There's plenty of perlite in there. My bird's getting antsy. He's right behind the camera. The big male cockatoo. Hopefully he don't scream. Jacob. Alright. That might be all the disrupting I do. Because that looks pretty good, right? I don't feel any root rot on here or see any. That's incredible. An Anthurium that I didn't drown. Yet. Yet. Yeah. And I also don't see like a death plug on this guy. Alright, cool. Let's see. Actually, I think slightly less bark might be alright. Y'all wish me luck with this pot, because I have anxiety about this. I really do. I have bad luck with these recycled ocean plastic pots. What are they? Bloom? Bloom. B-L-O-E-M. Dayton Blue Planter, it says. I don't know. Death pot. That's nothing against them. Like I said, maybe it's something I'm doing. Maybe I need to make the drainage holes bigger for the type of plants that I'm putting in it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm doing my best. Alright. Oh, my rings are falling off into the dirt. I'll just set you over there. I like this plant. I want it to do well. It flowered all winter. I was really surprised because I think the thing says high humidity. And y'all told me, you're like, no, it'll be fine. And it was. I didn't really give it anything extra. And it's done well. And it just flowered and flowered and flowered. It has stopped flowering now. I guess maybe it's a cooler flower. And in the greenhouse, you know, it's hot. It's hot. The only thing that seems to want to flower out there right now is the orchid cactus and a bunch of Hoyas. Like, I think the last time my Hoya Kentiana was flowering, it's got new buds, but it hasn't reflowered just yet. My Crimson Queen is going to flower, I think, for the first time this year. It's got really mature buds. I didn't even know they were there. Who else? There's one I can't remember the name of. Sunrise, that one's been a pretty constant flower. The Lacanosas, I think the Royal Flush just flowered. The Croniana Black has some buds on it. Mindorensis, that's another one that's flowering. And I can't remember the name of that Hoya. I'll have to put it on screen. It's got, I think, 2 or 3 peduncles that are budding up right now. So maybe I'll get to see that flower. It's weird looking. I mean, it's cool, but it's weird looking. Ugh. Ooh. Okay. So that's them, right? Is that everybody? That's everybody that I wanted to pot/repot, I believe. All right, I'm gonna clean up my mess and then we're gonna water. Okay, water o'clock. I've got a few. Some of these are not ones that I replanted today, like these couple Hoyas. I just happened to be in the other room grabbing my rack and I noticed that they were dry, so here we are. But other ones are things that I worked with today. Or some of the things that so far I've worked with today, because my day is not over. Not yet. I'm sorry if you can hear the fan next to me. There's a fan like right kind of behind the camera there. So it might be blowing on my mic. I'm sorry, I'm hot. I'm very warm. So that is a thing that's happening. It must happen. Fans must happen. Okay, I don't think wasn't gonna water these two because they actually feel pretty heavy. This was the crunchy Villanorum, which I never remember the name. And then this is the pink Birkin or something like that. Like maybe you can see the markings on it. I'm not sure. I know my light's not great here. It wasn't giving very great leaves. Like that's a recent leaf. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll get better. I should probably give it a pole instead of a stick. Just not there right now. Today's not that day. Still haven't made poles. My biggest issue with the poles right now is all the cutting, and like I'm old, my hands hurt. My hands hurt. Arthritis is a thing. It really is. Okay, so I think these are everybody who I was gonna water. We'll see how it goes. Start with the big one first. And I'll probably do this twice. You know, water them once just to get it moist, and then water them twice to really settle them, to get the air out and whatever. And why I insist on using this instead of like the sprayer thing that's right there, I couldn't tell you. Old dog, I guess. Old dog. That's me. I might learn some new tricks eventually. I don't know, I learn new tricks all the time. Some of them I like, some of them don't work out so well. I just prefer this thing. I don't know why. I don't use this thing in the greenhouse though, in case you've never watched me water in the greenhouse. Another thing I use this for is if I'm fertilizing, but mostly even then I use like a pump sprayer. I think it's 2.5 gallon, 3 gallons, something like that. But yeah, sometimes I'll use it for fertilizing the greenhouse just because then I can I really know which plants I've done and which ones I haven't because I had to get that close to it and really look at it. It just helps me keep track that way. But yeah, all right. So I'm gonna let them sit a minute and then I'll come back and do the same thing again, basically, just to really set them in their pots and really get the soil down in the roots. Also, another reason I use this thing, I don't just refill it with plain water. I didn't think about that, but I make mosquito bit tea or mosquito dunk tea, whichever I happen to be able to get a hold of. And I use that every single time I water indoors or out. It's helpful because fungus gnats are a thing and I really don't have them nor do I want them. But the only time I actually notice them is when I bring new plants in, which is pretty often. But I'll notice them in new plants sometimes. So, but either way, preventative maintenance. I always water with mosquito bits in my water. So, and I fertilize my indoor plants, even pretty new ones, or ones that are recently repotted. There's always fertilizer in my water. I fertilize pretty much every time I water indoors. Outdoors is a little bit harder. Mostly I just kind of go crazy with the hose, but in here there's always fertilizer and mosquito bits. But yeah, now I'm just gonna let them drain, I guess. I still don't think this is wet. I can't tell. I'll just dump the rest of it in there. It's hard to tell on this planter. Maybe that's, oh my god, it weighs a ton. I think it just all collects in the bottom and it doesn't drain out of this freaking tray. It doesn't. Why? Look, dirt dust. Fun. Fun. I guess it was clogging the holes. But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna let them drain and then I'm gonna put them back in the greenhouse. You don't need to watch that. You saw where they came from. I'm gonna go back in kind of the same area-ish, except for the ones that were already in here. They'll go amongst the mayhem. Okay, so that's what I had today. Plant chores. I wasn't fibbing. I'm planning on going shopping tomorrow, plant shopping. My tomorrow will probably be at least a few days for you. But I'm hoping to do some reporting there. I don't know, we'll see. If it's busy, I'm not gonna really be in anybody's way. I don't think I've done any plant shopping videos, not even at like a Lowe's. Not that my Lowe's has much. I mean, they have stuff, you know, but just not, nothing I'm really looking for. I mean, I'll still pick stuff up, like, you know, I just got this there, which I think it was labeled Jet Diamond. It's a Costa Farms one. I've always known it as Domino Peace Lily, but it's pretty, right? The place I'm talking about trying to go is in Delaware. We'll see if I actually get there and can record a video without being on top of anyone. You know, I'm not trying to, nobody wants to be filmed while they're plant shopping. Well, maybe some people do. I don't know. I think on average they don't. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to attempt that. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you for watching and thank you for hanging out with me, and come back and check me out again soon. Bye.